Welcome into Miami Dolphins Today, presented by Manscape. Listen, guys, it's that time of the year. It's hot. Go get 20% off at manscape.com when you use the promo code DOLPHINS. It's elite stuff. Lawnmower 4.0 is the way to go, and the place to do that is go get it at manscape.com with 20% off. Remember to use the code DOLPHINS, and you get free shipping too. Great deal, best deal on the internet when it comes to male grooming. Well, Xavien Howard has been the talk of Miami Dolphins training camp, offseason, whatever you want to talk about. He has been the main topic of conversation, and that continued today with Coach Brian Flores going in and giving an update on the star corner for the Miami Dolphins, who had practiced before for the Miami Dolphins after requesting a trade on July 27th, but now has an ankle injury and was sidelined for a bit. The star corner was at practice, however, and the fans were yelling, "We love Howard," but some of the beat writers were saying there was no reaction visible from Xavien Howard when he heard those chants. Now, Xavien Howard wants to get paid. Simple and plain, that is what he wants to do. And right now you're looking at the highest paid corners in the league. Jalen Ramsey tops the list at $20 million, then Marlon Humphreys, Tre'Davious White, Darius Slay, and then, at the end of the list right there, his own teammate, Byron Jones. And that has been a topic of conversation when it comes to Xavien Howard and potentially getting that extension done. Now, when you have your own teammate in front of you in the list and you had a better season, at least statistically, you're going to want to get paid a little bit more, and that's exactly what Xavien Howard wants. You look at his stats from 2020, 51 tackles, 10 interceptions, and 20 pass breakups. Now, Brian Flores did have an update when it came to those contract extension talks, and he went as far as to say, well, as far as the contract goes, we'll continue to have dialogue and take it one step at a time. We are moving in the right direction, and for me, that's kind of surprising. When you think about the way that Xavien Howard came out and requested a trade, obviously he did it via social media, but you could tell that him and his agent put that quote together, and they did a good job, but there was some shots taken there. You've seen Byron Jones already talk about he's okay with the shots that were, the perceived shots, quote unquote, taken by Xavien Howard, and saying that he maybe had an issue with Byron Jones being paid, even though he was producing at a more elite level, at least statistically, right? So you look at what he's done, and again, you're going to want to get paid if you're Xavien Howard. Now the injury front comes into it. Is this just one of those situations where, again, I believe it is one of those situations where Xavien Howard just doesn't want to practice and risk getting a longer-term injury and just trying to figure out the trade situation and what's going on? But again, you look at the numbers he put up in 2020, and he deserves to get paid. Now, how high? I'm pretty sure he's going to want to be in that Marlon Humphrey, Tre'Davious White range and at least be the highest paid corner on his team, but right now that is just not the case. And again, looking at those numbers, that's going to get you in that 17, 16 range is exactly where I predict that he wants to be. And again, I don't know if the Dolphins are going to want to go there. You hear what the Dolphins have wanted in terms of the structuring and the contract language and verbiage. I don't know if they're going to want to meet that. And so I think when it all said and done, this is going to end up in a trade, but I do like that Brian Flores has talked about, hey, there have been those talks, and this wasn't just a dead stop in terms of contract extensions when it comes to the star corner. But hey, let us know. Vote now. More likely to happen for Xavien Howard. Type T for trade, and then E for extension. Me, I don't know. It just seems inevitable that this star corner is going to land somewhere else. When? I'm not exactly sure. But hey, I do think that he will end up traded. Let us know in the comments down below what you think. Guys, today's episode of Miami Dolphins Today is presented by Manscaped. 20% off is the place to get all your male grooming needs right now. Again, it's hot as balls down in Miami. This is the place to make sure that your balls are in the proper stage. Again, down on manscape.com. The link will be down in the comments below. You can use the promo code DOLPHINS to get 20% off. And hey, they'll even give you free shipping when you use the promo code. So head over to manscape.com, use the promo code DOLPHINS for 20% off and free shipping. Get the Lawnmower 4.0. It's the best in the game when it comes to male grooming. And again, that promo code is DOLPHINS to get you 20% off over on manscaped.com. DeVante Parker has been in the news now for the Miami Dolphins as he was activated from the PUP list. A lot of people were concerned down with the Dolphins. When was he going to get back into training camp? Well, the answer, Monday. He came back on Monday, August 2nd, and he performed admirably in his first practice of 2021 as the injury was undisclosed for DeVante Parker, the perceived number one wide receiver for Tua and the Miami Dolphins. But he did return to practice today on Monday, August 2nd, and he made an immediate impact. There was a great catch going around on social media about DeVante Parker making a one-handed catch on the sideline, and it was absolutely phenomenal. Good to see him back. Just have to have that continued repertoire and success with Tua on the sideline, and we're going to talk about Tua in just a bit. His arm action in terms of the power and going downfield has been up in training camp so far, and DeVante Parker might be able to capitalize on that. Speaking of a talented playmaker on the offense, Mike Gesicki, not as positive news for him, as the Dolphins placed 3 tight ends on COVID-19 reserve list, and Mike Gesicki was one of them, alongside Adam Shaheen and Carter as well. They were all placed in protocols, leaving the Miami Dolphins only 4 tight ends today at practice. Now, they did say that some of them came in. There was one from Grambling State that had 9 catches at his time there, but Flores did give an update when it came to Mike Gesicki, going on to say, I think this is something the entire league's dealing with. We're going to have to follow COVID-19 protocols, and again, that's a bunch of coach speak, but that's what you're going to get right now at this part of training camp. You look at what Mike Gesicki did last year, and he was kind of that security blanket for Tua when he took over the job from Ryan Fitzpatrick in the latter part of the year. He had 53 catches as well as 703 yards, 6 TDs, and he's a big-time playmaker too. He's not like a typical tight end that can just sit there and catch the ball and not really make somebody miss. Mike Gesicki can make somebody miss and beat you downfield as well. So hopefully he can get back on the field here relatively quickly for the Dolphins moving forward. But as of right now, and we'll keep you updated, but as of right now, Mike Gesicki is on the COVID-19 reserve list. Speaking of another playmaker, a lot of news when it comes to playmakers in the Miami Dolphins offense right now. Preston Williams was also added to the COVID-19 list. This was on Monday. This was kind of late breaking into practice itself. He was working his way back from a foot injury and is in a pretty decent battle right now with the guy that's been arguably the camp highlight right now in Albert Wilson, who's coming back from a hip injury, and then the star returner in Jakeem Grant. Again, we all know what Preston Williams brings to the team when he's on the field, but he's just got to stay healthy, and this is just one more thing on top of that already injured status that he had coming into camp, and now he is on the COVID list. You look at the numbers he had last year in just 7 games started in 2020. He had 18 receptions, 288 yards, 4 TDs, and 47 as his long reception on the year. Again, he's a guy that's kind of like DeVante Parker, right? Those big, long, rangy wide receivers, but I like Preston Williams a little bit more on the outside when it comes to making guys miss. He's just got to stay healthy, and honestly, when he does stay healthy, I think Tua's going to go to him quite a bit because of that escapability in terms of him making a couple of people miss. But hey, DeVante Parker, he's back at camp. What is your one word for expectations for the perceived number one wide receiver right now for the Miami Dolphins? Again, they added a lot of talent, and we'll talk about that in just a second when we talk about Tua. They added a lot of talent on this offense. So again, I say perceived number one wide receiver, but who knows? You add Will Fuller, you spend a top 10 pick on a wide receiver. Maybe he's more of a complimentary piece at this point, and you know what? I don't think that's a bad thing. The word I would go with is questionable. Again, when you look at what DeVante Parker has done in his career, he's been inconsistent. He's been that, big play guy or big game guy, and then he comes relatively back down to earth after that. But you look at what he brings to an offense from the outside perspective, right? He brings a guy that can go up, make plays on the sideline, can go across the middle and be that big body in the wide receiver core. But he's got to stay healthy, and he's also just got to be a little bit more consistent. So that's why I say questionable. If he gets a little bit more consistency under his belt, I think he could be really, really good because of this guy that we're about to talk about in the star of training camp so far. Hey, just a reminder, guys, be sure to subscribe to youtube.com/Dolphins News. Again, if you want more videos, we need more subscribers. That's what the bosses have been telling me. There's a reason Jeremy and I right now are only in here for like 30 minutes. Okay, we need more time to talk about the Dolphins, and if you want to do that, hit that big red button below so we can talk more about this next guy who's really taking the NFL news cycle by storm. And of course, I'm talking about Tua Tagovailoa, who has officially been the full-time starter now for, well, a relatively short amount of time, but this is his team now as he took over that full-time spot last year over Ryan Fitzpatrick. And this is the first time he's been fully healthy in over 2 years. You remember the hip issue that he had at Alabama. It's been prolonged. There was questions where he was going to get drafted. Miami still takes him in the top 10. Now it's his time. It is Tua time down in Miami, and the Dolphins have done absolutely everything they can to make sure that their franchise quarterback is in the proper position to succeed after they added a plethora of offseason or a lot of wide receivers in the offseason. Now, looking at his numbers from last year, there's nothing to really write home about right now. He had solid TD numbers, solid interception numbers right there. But the big thing with Tua, he didn't go downfield. He was a dink and dunk guy. You realize what Myles Gaskin did last year. That really helped him out. But you look at the guys that they brought in, and I think it's a telltale sign of what they want to do with this offense and put Tua in a position to where he can succeed. Now, here's some of the things that have been talked about from beat writers in the Miami Herald area and really just Miami in general. Most of these have come from the Miami Herald. He's really testing the ball downfield, and that's something you haven't seen in his time in Miami. Again, relatively short sample size for Tua. I understand that, but now this offense is opening up. You think about the guys that they brought in. They bring in Jalen Waddle, a guy that can do both. He's an across-the-middle threat, make a guy one-cut-miss kind of guy, but then you bring in Will Fuller, who has yet to practice in training camp. But he's made 4 or 5 deep passes to, again, Tua's been the star in training camp, but the other guy that's really got a lot of publicity is Albert Wilson, who's coming back from that hip injury, and he has made 2 or 3 deep passes to Wilson and has really been the talk of camp on that. And then another aspect of Tua that was really a question mark coming into the NFL in general was his footwork, right? It looks to be very improved in terms of him just getting in the proper placement and being able to make field throws to all 3 sections of the field. Really big for Tua moving forward. And then I think the biggest thing when you look at what's going on in camp right now is that his teammates are praising him. Yes, it's early on. Flores is going to talk about it here in just a second. But when you have your teammates coming out and really just laying praise on you early about the things that you've worked on in the offseason, I think that will go a long way in terms of Tua and his confidence. Speaking of Flores, though, he had this quote pertaining to Tua. I think he's gotten off to a great start. Still a long way to go. Good command of the offense, trying to work on mechanics, fundamentals every day, footwork, timing, plays, into his accuracy as a passer. Now, again, when it comes to Tua, I don't think anybody's questioning his accuracy, right? Especially in the short and intermediate routes. But when it comes to deep balls, Tua struggled a little bit just to even get the ball downfield. Now, that doesn't look like it's been an issue so far early on in camp. And again, the key word there is early. It is very early in camp. I think we're about 5-6 days into this. Haven't even worn pads yet for the first time, which, by the way, on Tuesday, August 3rd, the Dolphins will wear pads for the first time. Again, this is very early on, but you love to see your quarterback go into the offseason with a mindset of change in terms of the way that they want to pass. And Tua has done that, and he's built upon that and brought it into training camp early on. So let me know, are you excited to see Tua this season? I mean, it's absolutely Tua time down in Miami. I know I'm excited. You should be excited. Get that Deshaun Watson talk out of here. This is Tua time right now in Miami. But for Jeremy, I'm RC Maxfield. If you haven't already, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Appreciate y'all watching Miami Dolphins Today here on Chat Sports, presented by Manscape.